What's up, everybody? It is Apush from the Loft on a Wednesday. All right, so making this video to kind of talk about one of the important parts of the AP US history test. This is part two. Now, stay with me here. This is part two of part one of the AP US history test, aka you have part one, which is the multiple choice, which is 40% of your test grade, and then you have the short answer questions or the SAQs, as we call them in the game. All right, you can call them SAQs, that which will be 20% of your score. Okay, so we're going to look at an example, how you could tackle this question, and then some possible answers that you are the ways these were scored, basically, so you can have some experience with that. This is a question, I'm not going to lie. All right, this is a question you may see again, too. All right, because it's a good question, and it's a question they oftentimes ask. All right. And looking at the quiz is kind of the most missed questions on the quiz, which overall went pretty well. The most missed questions were actually about like the middle colonies and the differences between the colonial regions. So that's something we can go over quick, and you all will get that. So if there was going to be one that was most missed that I would be like, oh, we could fix that easy, it was that one. So, all right. This is the short answer question. It can look as simple as this, okay? This is one type of short answer question that they have sometimes, all right? So you see the directions here. I'm not going to read to you too much, but I'm going to read to you a little bit, just a little bit, all right? So, excuse me. Read each question carefully, write your responses in section 1, part B, short answer booklet. That's what it will look like, hopefully, if we are good to go in May on in-person testing. Here's the thing I want to make very clear on this. The short answer question, sometimes your inclination is going to be to kind of bullet point or maybe not writing complete sentences. Well, I answered the question. I answered the question. What's the issue? Yeah, but bullet points are not going to get points because this is College Board. It's a college level class. They're going to expect that next level of answer. Okay, so that's just the bottom line on that. So no use arguing it. No use complaining about it. One of my phrases the last year has been, it is what it is. All right, we deal with what's real. So we're going to deal with what's real here. Use complete sentences when doing a short answer question. All right. So use complete sentences, an outline, or bulleted list alone is not acceptable. You may plan your answers, and there's all that stuff there. No credit will be given for notes written in this booklet, yada, yada, yada. All right, only your responses on the designated pages of the Section 1 Part B short answer booklet will be scored. All right, so you'll see all that when you see the booklets, okay? And you're going to see what, like, a sample page looks like. Since, like, those of you that took Euro didn't even get to see what a sample page looks like last year because of the way the test was done online. So let's look at this question and how you should tackle this question, okay? First of all, it's going to say pretty simple directions. Number one, answer A, B, and C. Simple enough. All right, so we're looking at A here. All right, we're looking at A, and it says briefly explain one, all caps, one important similarity between the British colonies and the Chesapeake region and the British colonies in New England in the period from 1607 to 1754. So we've got a defined regions to look at. We have defined regions to look at, and we have a defined time period to look at, right? So the regions where people get confused, okay, where College Board tries to fool you sometimes is they'll talk about the Chesapeake region, and students will be like, well, we talked about the northern, middle, and southern, but we never talked about the Chesapeake region. Well, right now, we're talking about the Chesapeake region, okay? The Chesapeake region would be your Delaware, your Maryland, your Virginia, that Chesapeake Bay region, if you look at a U.S. map, all right? So that's going to be something to look at. So that's going to be, they're going to have some pretty specific characteristics we're going to talk about in a second. And then you have the New England colonies, okay? So those are your Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, those upper colonies, okay, those northern colonies. So these are just different names for colonies that you have looked at, okay? And so, we of course know that the New England colonies were very religious, Puritan beliefs, very rigid in their religious belief. If you were outside the norm, you were outside of society, okay? So you have to talk about one important similarity between those two colonies. So we'll talk about that in a second. B, briefly explain one important difference. All right, so you're comparing and you're contrasting. That's a skill you may have to do in the short answer question. And C, briefly explain one factor that accounts for the differences that you indicated in B. All right, so C is just asking for more information on B. Okay, so here is the key to this whole thing. Okay, and I'm going to say this slowly, and it's going to be something I ask you in class on Thursday. All right, to make sure you watch this video. So this next part, pay attention, because on Thursday and Friday when I'm asking about this, and if I get a bunch of blank stares and nobody can answer, I'm going to be like, nobody watched my video that I worked so hard on. Okay, so the method to answer these questions is very simple. Okay, it's ACE. ACE. A-C-E. All right, A-C-E. So we've got A is going to be answer. Yeah, that's right. Answer. All right. So you're going to answer the question. You're going to tell me a similarity. All right. Cite and explain are C and E. So cite is like basically just looking at any of your examples and citing a source. It could be from a reading, it could be from a map or whatever, or it could be just as simple as basically just how you know your answer is correct. Okay, so we've got answer, we've got cite. All right, cite, and then explain. All right, so explaining your citation. Okay, so that's going to be the main three things you need to do: the ACE method: answer, cite, C-I-T-E, explain. All right, so you're going to answer the question. All right, cite your example. All right, give your example and then explain. All right, those are the three things you need to do to be successful. All right. So, looking at this, what the College Board does, and this is something I can share with you all, which this is helpful, is you can see some examples to some questions. So let's look at that. Scrolling down here. All right. Oh, there's the learning objectives. That's some stuff that it's built in the course. That's stuff we're doing all year. Everything we do is for a reason. Everything we're doing right now, I'm not going to waste your time. All right. I'm a stickler for not wasting anybody's time on anything. So this is anything we do in class, I feel has some value in helping out your AP score in May and helping your general knowledge of U.S. history too. All right. So they give you these notes. If you can have a score of 0, 1, 2, or 3. All right. 3 means you got A, B, and C right. And basically the situation is there if it's all or nothing. You either get the point or you don't. Okay, you get the point or you don't. That's just all right. So A, B, and C, you get 3 points. If you get 3, obviously that's great. For the 3 short answer questions you have, there's going to be different, like 3 parts to each. You need to like shoot for at least, over half of those points. All right, and all of the points would just be spectacular. You're well on your way to passing then. All right, so here's what we got. All right, the scoring notes, possible answers. Students may focus just on one colony from each region, Virginia and Massachusetts. All right, so explain one similarity. So the answers that would be acceptable, and I know the irony here is that they bullet pointed these, but in your actual answer, you need to write in complete sentences, and you'll see an example in a second. All right, explain one important similarity: agricultural but diversified economies by 1754. Know that, like 1754, of course, the beginning of the French and Indian War. 1607, Jamestown. All right, so the years that they choose usually have some sort of meaning. So just keep that in your toolkit when you're answering these questions. There's some forever years that we need to know that we'll be studying before the semester exam and before the AP test. All right, 1607, 1754 are 2 of those years. All right. Initial tolerance for survival between American Indians and British colonists in Virginia. They made friends, all right, with the Native American tribes there initially. Massachusetts, the same thing. They made friends with a nearby tribe that helped them survive. Wars between colonists and American Indians due to land and cultural conflicts. Of course, it ended up in violence. Both had indentured servitude and slavery as forms of labor. It's not as known as much in the North because it wasn't as popular, but initially there was indentured servitude. There was slavery in the North. By the Revolution, it pretty much died out in the North. Dependence on trade from Britain, the triangular trade. All right, so any of these examples would have been points. All right. And so if you answered that and explained it, you would get a point for that. B, the difference, greater reliance on slavery in the Chesapeake. All right. So you could point out that slavery was more, it was more used, good English there. It was more used in the Chesapeake region. Okay. Greater disparity in wealth between classes in the Chesapeake. All right. So you had like a very distinct rich, aka the plantation owners, and then you had like a very no middle class in the Chesapeake region, and then you had a poor class and then slaves. All right. You could talk about the economy differences, religious freedom not as prevalent. All right. So in the North or in New England, as it was in Chesapeake colonies. All right. Explain one, especially Maryland being a Catholic haven. One factor that accounts for the differences. All right. So you have a greater reliance on slavery in the Chesapeake due to labor intensive agriculture. All right. Large scale agriculture needed more labor, and they unfortunately chose slavery as the means for that labor. Okay. So a bunch of answers there. And I'll share this web page with you as well. All right. So a student response may look something like this. All right. You can tell how they tackled it. They didn't write a book. They didn't even label it A, B, and C. I'm going to have you label A, B, and C for your answers just so it's like there's no doubt for the reader that you know what the answer is. All right. But let's look at this. Let me make sure there's one example I wanted to show you. I want to make sure this is the example I wanted to show you. So, yeah, sample 1A is a 3, 1B is a 2, and you'll be able to look at these when I show you the link to this too. All right. But 1A is the best example, even though they didn't label A, B, and C. All right. So you can see they wrote in complete sentences. The Chesapeake region and the New England region of 1607 to 1754 were both British colonies, each with a set of similarities and differences. One of the key differences that these two regions apart were these two regions apart were their economy. So if you get asked about like colonial differences, an easy way to do it, just know the specifics of the economy because each one had a very specific difference in economy. All right. So Chesapeake Colony was based on farming and used indentured servants because of the rich soil and warm climate. New England had that rocky soil, harsher climate, especially in the wintertime. And instead, its economy was based on different types of industry and trade. Some of the industry included lumber and fishing due to large forests and access to the ocean. One key similarity between these two colonies was their form of government, all right, representative style governments, and they were ruled under the British monarchy. And this shows that these two colonies were both similar and also very different, okay? And you can see that they answered every part of those questions up there. So the short answer question, the reason this is the first type of writing that we're going to be really focused on in this class is because it's the easiest form, and it actually sets up what we want to do with our writing, okay? Because in the short answer question, you answer, you cite your example, and you explain it. If you do those three things in a short answer question, you're going to be set up for success when we get to the LEQs and the DBQs and the longer writing, because it's just going to be a longer form of answering the question, giving examples, and explaining those. All right. So this is going to set us up to go tackle an LEQ, to tackle a DBQ. And I think all those things are very important. Okay. So what's going to happen today, this Wednesday? All right. You need to finish up chapter 7. And I'm going to be asking you questions about this video. Okay. A few questions about this video and discussion that will show if you got what you needed to from it. And we're going to get to practice a short answer question in class. Okay, so that's going to be exciting. If you have any questions, let me know. If you need to make up any work, or anything like that, and get that turned in today, Wednesday, that's fine. Get that turned in. I'm here for you. I'm here to answer any questions you have. I'll be in the office in the old classroom from 7:25 to 2:15. So anything I can do for you guys, do not hesitate. In 1 second to ask. All right. Have a great Wednesday. I'll see you either Thursday or Friday, be it virtually or in person, where we will tackle chapter 7. And what happened to my voice there? Not going to delete it. Let's just roll with it. And we're going to tackle the short answer question. Let's do it. All right. So that's what I got today, and I will see you later. During NTI, I was very bad at ending these things. So let's see. All right, here we go. Wait for it. See you later.